Hi, welcome to SorWil Solutions. I'm Joe Wilson, the CEO of SorWil Technology Solutions, and we like to talk about what's going on in our community. And our guest today is Nancy Bauder, City Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
soon to be our next mayor in January,
December.
in December. Super excited for you to be here. Thank you very much. I know we've had several other commissioners on, and you and I have a long history from supporting you in some of your other vocations in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you end up in Leavenworth? How long have you been here? How did you get into politics?
Oh, I've been in Leavenworth my whole life.
Okay.
I went to school at KU,
Okay.
And then-
Rock Chalk.
and then St. Mary's, got my chemistry biology degree at St. Mary's, and worked in the health field for 30 years, mostly in Kansas City, but
Okay.
also here with some nonprofits here too, and with our local hospitals. I got started in politics many years ago, and I actually brought a picture to show you. You want to
get it out? We can get it out.
Oh, it's in there.
Okay.
This is how I got started in politics. Just wanted to share that with you. When I was
So
working,
what are we looking at here?
this is Governor Carlin, and this is the signing of the first child restraint law,
Oh, wow.
which the organization
here.
I formed was responsible for getting that passed.
Wow. What year is that?
1985. The signing was there in 1986.
Wow. Okay.
And I was kind of shy. I was afraid to speak in public, and I was always kind of shy. I still get butterflies, but as a young mother and working in the hospital, working in the ER, I saw a lot of accidents regarding children and children being thrown through the roof and through the window, and I was able to get involved with an organization called Kansans for Highway Safety, and then I became president of that, and then the National Coalition for School Bus Safety. I became president of that, and worked with school bus safety for many years to try to get seatbelts in school buses and to have safer transportation for children for school. So to organize within the state. I really got to know more about the state and how laws are made and that. And I became a semi-volunteer lobbyist for Kansans for Highway Safety. But it was back when we didn't have cell phones and things like that. You had to do long distance, lots of letter writing and that kind of stuff. But I was able to organize. The Kansas Nurses Association has chapters in almost every town. Police departments have associations, fire associations, the American Medical Association, which I was more involved with, and the Nurses Association, which was very active in that because we saw firsthand what happened in these horrible accidents and things with children. So anyway, we got them all organized, and they made, my senator, who was Ed Riley at the time, allowed me to use his office and his phone to make calls throughout the state, and I could call a small town in Dodge City and say, "Will you call your legislators and tell them to pass this bill?" And we got a sponsor for the bill, and we got it passed. It took 2 years, but we got it passed.
That's amazing.
And so that was my first interest in politics and what one person can do, or what really a group can do, because it wasn't just one person. By the time we counted all of our associations with Kansans for Highway Safety, we had 10,000 people that were actually making phone calls throughout the state to get this passed.
That's amazing.
It was great. It was great, and was a now we've saved a lot of lives over the years, and that was my focus. I worked in healthcare for 30 years, and mostly in Kansas City. When I came back to Leavenworth, my company got bought out by another big corporation in Kansas City, and I knew I was going to be laid off. And so I came back to Leavenworth, and I've been working for nonprofits. I worked for many years for United Way, and I worked for St. Vincent early on before I went to Kansas City, and then I worked for Main Street for several years. So and have been a member of the chamber and LCDC for many years. So I'm real familiar with our community and like I said, I'm fifth generation. So I'm very familiar with our community and how it's changed over the years.
You bring up LCDC, which LCDC is really focused right now to try to get support for economic development. In some of the city commission meetings, it appears that some of your fellow commissioners may not be overly supportive of LCDC or question that relationship. What is your opinion on that relationship, and what do you think LCDC has done for our community?
Well, we have the Gary Carlson Park, which is almost filled, and I mean the companies there generate tens of millions of dollars every year. So that generates a lot of taxes for our community. They've done a lot. I know that it takes a long time to get a company in here, and we do pick and choose who we want to come here. I mean, we want them to fall under our comprehensive plan that we do every 10 years or so to meet the vision of what we have. We want good paying jobs here, and we want LCDC provides that larger company that can come in here and support only our community, but the whole county. I mean, the whole county benefits, and that's why LCDC and the Port Authority were set up. The Port Authority buys the land, holds the land, sometimes builds the buildings for companies to come in, and works with that. And we have, Leavenworth especially has nominated people to serve on those committees that are developers in our community, that are go-getters, that are the pillars of our community, that know development and know companies, and they serve on those boards, and I respect their opinion. It's not only LCDC, it's not only that. The city of Leavenworth, for Leavenworth itself, the city of Leavenworth works with LCDC. LCDC does all the marketing. If we hired somebody, they would have to do that marketing, which is already being done. We have Leavenworth has benefited more than any other city has from LCDC, and so I'm strongly supportive of them. But that's my opinion,
Sure.
And then it's not only that. We have a chamber of commerce here too, and we have Main Street here, and their focus is different. The chamber has a lot of members throughout the city of Leavenworth and Lansing, and and having them as partners, and having us coordinate with all of us with each other. It's not just LCDC. As far as Leavenworth and the retail, there's a lot we do right out of our office. There's a lot that Main Street could be doing, and the chamber as far as helping us. And we're starting a business registration program, and by having that, we'll be able to see how many businesses do we have here, how are they doing, and what do we need in the way of new business here. So I think that will help our economic development a lot. So it's not just LCDC, but.
Reese, do you feel the private partnerships with LCDC is a benefit to our community, that we have these businesses that get involved with the economic development and growth in our community?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure how.
So I asked that question because recently, and I think we started to touch on this a little bit before we started, the county commissioners met with the city of Basel, and one of the things that came up during that meeting, I believe from the county commission, was that is an issue because there's a lot of back alley agreements made, and suggested some things there that I'm not sure that I agree with, especially since I'm on the board of LCDC. But you don't believe that that's actually occurring?
No, they're the back alley agreements. I don't know what they're talking about, but they are. When you meet with a company and you have to sit down and discuss with them, you make negotiations. You cannot make those public. I mean, if you're buying a piece of property, you look at buying a piece of property and say, I'm going to put out here that I'm buying that piece of property, and then somebody that owns the property comes up and raises the price up to where you can't afford it. I mean, it's things like that. Those initial conversations need to be quiet. Mm-hmm. They need to be confidential between a company. A company won't come in there here if it's put out there and beforehand. But then after they come to LCDC and LCDC talks to us about it, the city, then we have a lot more. We can sit down and we can offer incentives if we think that's necessary or not. If it's some company that we really want to come in here, and then we can put that information out there. I mean, we've had it happen where the people said, no, we don't want it here, and we've voted it back out again. Mm-hmm. But to do that initial, we have to keep that initial confidential so that we can actually, make a deal with the company before they come in here. And then we aren't signing on the dotted line until we put that information out there.
How involved is the city in those negotiations, or how soon do they get involved?
Well, I go to the LCDC meetings, as many as I can, and our commissioners are there. Our city manager is always there at the LCDC and Port Authority meetings, so he knows, what is going on and where they're looking at, what size. I mean, that's a lot of the stuff. If you go to the meetings, you know what they're doing. The size, they'll have some company come in and they'll say, I want this for the size. I want this size of a lot. Can you give that to us? Can we have that? Mm-hmm. I want this access to railroad. Do you have that? I want, this access to whatever, 435, I-70. That is an issue. That's always an issue. And I think that would help us in economic development if we would get that. If we would get that straight away highway that would direct us, that would take us right to 435 or I-70. So
the Gateway Bridge project is what you're referring to. That would connect. No. What was it?
There are several projects.
Which project are you referring to?
There are 4 of them that KDOT looked at, and there are 4 of them. The Gateway is only one of them. One of the others is along McIntyre Road.
Okay.
Which would go straight into, another one goes straight south from DeSoto. That was another one they looked at.
You get to I-70?
Get to I-70. And another one is along long Highway 5.
Okay.
Which would also go to 435.
Is that separate than the Highway 5 project?
Highway 5 project.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the 4, and they've determined that the Gateway project was going to be the most expensive of all of them, so they didn't think that would go. But anyway, I know there's still a push for that. For all of them, just to get us to where we can get our products to where they need to go.
Get them to the airport faster, I think, is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, airport too. Yeah.
Residents have questioned, and I think LCDC is trying to make a big push to raise funding. If LCDC didn't do economic development, where would that fall on the city? Do we have somebody in the city that would do that instead of them?
Our assistant city manager does like 40% of that. Her focus really, I think we'd have to have another employee, and I don't think we're ready to hire another employee right now. If there's already the others doing more, Main Street has plans to be doing more of the economic development work, and I'm sure, we could work with the chamber more closely too. It takes a village. It takes all of us.
Some people have suggested that the LCDC, the chamber, and Main Street should join forces into one. I don't know if it's one entity, one location, where they could help each other work out some of these deals. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's really possible, since the chamber is Leavenworth and Lansing. The city of Leavenworth is just Leavenworth, and Main Street is just Leavenworth. It's just downtown, basically. And but it is all of Leavenworth too. When I was at Main Street, I recruited a lot of businesses that also did not just come downtown. They also were in the city and were even in the county. So, we all can help each other, but I don't think you could have one large group of doing everything. And then, LCDC, of course, covers the whole county.
Yeah. So you represent Leavenworth on the KCATA board?
I did for about 8 years or so.
Okay. Can you tell us about that
now? Yes. I have to tell you, when I first got involved, I went to, well, I was with United Way, and the Sister Vicki Perkins had a big community meeting to set up to find out what we had needs for in this community. They had just sold St. John Hospital, and they wanted to see what they needed their next focus to be. And we had churches there, we had nonprofit organizations, we had community leaders all in one big room. And the big number one need was transportation in our community. And so I asked if I could. They were changing positions on the board with the county commission, and I had asked one of the county commissioners if I could serve and represent them on the KCATA board, and I was just coming on as a city commissioner. So you have to be a commissioner, a city or county commissioner, in order to be on that board. And so so they yes, they said you can be on the board. So I actually served 2 terms of about 8 years.
Oh wow!
And but during that time, one of the first meetings I went to was a public meeting, and the governor of Colorado was there, John Hickenlooper.
Okay,
and he had been the mayor of Denver, and he had been really responsible for setting up transit between Denver and all the surrounding areas, and did an amazing job of getting all of these counties together to work on a project. And even now, my son lives in Thornton, and now they have a terminal there in Thornton. The trains come through, so he got the bus service going. Denver was a problem. I mean, it was growing, and everything was cars, cars and trucks, and they just didn't have much in the way of transportation. So he really motivated us. And at that time, the KCATA had just started, really changing focus and looking at getting transportation to all of our 6 counties, the 6 counties in Missouri, 3 counties in Missouri, and 3 in Kansas. And so it was a wonderful experience, because I got to see what was going on in Missouri. I got to see how to get a transportation hub started in a community. And we didn't know if we had to be part of the Kansas City, or could we have our own, and this sort of thing. Every city did it a little differently. And so from that, I learned a lot about how to organize and get us started with the KCATA here. With LV Ride here.
So tell me more about it. So the last commission meeting I went to, LV Ride was there presenting, and they talked about the statistics and how many rides they've given. Talk a little more about that program and what it does. And I mean, can anybody ride on it? I'm not sure that anybody really knows.
Anybody can ride on it. Yes. I think that's important. That's one of you asked about our best kept secrets. That's one of our best kept secrets is some people don't know we have public transportation, and it's so simple. You don't have to go to a bus stop. It's like Uber, only it's $2 a ride. And they have an app where you can call in on the phone and get a ride, but you have to pay cash when you get on, the $2 cash. But the app works great. I've used it a couple of times. When you have knee surgery and you have problems getting around, you don't have a ride somewhere in town, then they will come to your home, and they're usually there within 10 or 15 minutes, and they'll pick you up. Or you can schedule a ride, and you can schedule a ride to and from a place. But what we found when I was at KCATA in the Kansas City area with their public transportation was the majority of people. I mean, it got us started because there was a need to get people to the doctor. There was a need to get people to shopping. But what they were seeing was the majority of people ride to and from work. And that's what they see in Kansas City, 90% ride to and from work. Here, it's probably about that high because so many people, they said that the trips to Walmart, a lot of them are workers. The trips to the grocery stores, a lot of them are workers. And to downtown, a lot of them are workers. So it's, and some of them ride every day. Some of them ride when their car is broken down or they don't have a car. And so I think that is a real win. But not only that, I mean, I sponsored international officers for years, and sometimes they would come into town, not able to drive or not having a car here. So it's been a real advantage for them to be able to ride different places around town and not have to rely on the Fort bus, which usually just takes them into town and back to the Fort. They can ride around town and do things here.
And how long has the program been around now?
This is the third year. We started out with a pilot project, and it is, have to give credit to the Guidance Center, because the Guidance Center is they already had a transportation system for their own clients, but this has been, they have expanded to help the city of Leavenworth. And so they took it over with the dispatch and the drivers and hiring the drivers, and they've taken it over. But it started with some grants. Leavenworth pays 30%, and the 70% of this program is paid for by grants through KCATA and through Mid-America Regional Council and KDOT. So we're very fortunate to have that. And they've just been renewed for another year. This was our third year pilot project, and I was really getting concerned. Are we getting our information in there so our application can go in? And yet they assured me, yes, we've been renewed. So I'm really happy about that.
But I can only go inside of Leavenworth City?
Right now, yeah. Lansing has been looking at it. We've talked to them a lot, and I believe they've put in applications as well. So initially starting out, the Mid-America Regional Council did a study for us, a countywide study. And it was shown that there was a need all over the county. It wasn't just Leavenworth. But so I set up a meeting with the commissioners and city managers throughout the county at the Guidance Center. And we had presentations of this study by KDOT and Mid-America Regional Council and ATA. And they talked about how this could roll out. And so afterwards I said, okay, who all is interested? And they go, no, we're not interested.
Oh, really?
No, we don't think so. We don't think so. And then someone I won't mention, but he was in Lansing. He was a Lansing city manager at that time. He said, we'll just wait and see what Leavenworth does.
Wow.
And basically I thought, well, if nobody else does it, Leavenworth won't do it either. But after talking with the commission and at a commission meeting and the city manager, they decided, yes, we want to try to do this. So
is there any thoughts of expansion towards Kansas City or any of the greater metro area?
We would love that. And we're looking into that. I know Mike Steben is on the ATA board now, so I'm sure he's looking into that as well. But that is the goal. That is the goal.
What would that do for our community?
Oh my gosh, we have one hospital here. We have shrunk in regard to our medical services here. So, I mean, that would help a lot. Not only that, but, people coming to Leavenworth, not just going to Kansas City, but also coming to Leavenworth. So I would think it would help everybody in the county a lot, but especially on that corridor through Leavenworth and Lansing, I think it would help the most.
You had talked a little bit more before we got started about the infrastructure and some of the infrastructure issues we're having. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. One of our biggest challenges with the city of Leavenworth is infrastructure. We have an old infrastructure, 150 years old or more. And we have a lot of our storm sewers, which is where the storm water, this past rain came crashing down recently. The storm sewers that run through the city of Leavenworth, we've got, I think, 5 creeks throughout the whole city that run into the river. And so we have a lot of water flowing through our city. And so these storm sewers were originally brick, rock. Some of them were old wood and are just, after this many years, they've been failing for a long time, but about between 30 and 40 years ago, they put in corrugated steel culverts in, tubes in for the infrastructure. Well, now those have rusted, and they're sinking. So what we used to see as a round hole, now we see as a flat pancake.
Oh no!
And we're seeing throughout the city, we have over the last few years, it is our sinkholes. I think the most visible one was out on Limit, where the whole street sunk in, and we had to close the street and stop immediately and rebuild that whole system right through there, which was a huge expense. Those are expenses we don't expect. But we did pass a sewer fee a couple of years ago, which is helping pay for some of that. But things come up,
Mm-hmm.
10-foot holes, who knows how deep, come up. And so it's important to keep up with that infrastructure. We also have our water treatment plant, which is getting old, and we need to replace some parts on that. And so that's another thing. The infrastructure. People don't realize when you sit up here on the commission, you're not just talking about trash, and you are talking about trash a lot, but it is all. We're not talking about just events and things like that, economic development, which is important, but we're also talking about keeping up our infrastructure and taking care of our old town.
So you just brought up trash.
Yes.
And I just received a survey about trash.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
We looked at 4 different options, and I can't remember all the details of each one, but I know that doing things the way we have been doing is not working in the long run. Eventually, some of the transfer stations that we have been working with will be closing, and they'll be closing to us first because we're outside the area. But our trash trucks, having our trucks have to run out of the city to do trash dumping is not sustainable. For one thing, it puts wear and tear on the trucks. It takes our drivers out of service. It takes our trucks out of service for hours while they go to Kansas City to do this. It also takes, sometimes they have to sit in line for a couple hours even. So they could be gone the whole day. So this is a really, really a strain on our system. And so now we're looking at other options. Leavenworth has some land that we could build a station on, and that could help us with our service, but it's going to cost us a little bit more. You go from that end to us doing this, us doing that, or going completely contract. And if we went to completely contract, which just about everybody around us has, they can choose to raise the prices anytime they want to, and they're a lot more expensive than what our own system is running right now. A lot more expensive than what our own system is running. And I don't know, I get a lot of phone calls, but people may be angry about trash when it doesn't get here on time. But people love the way our guys come out and come into the neighborhoods and take care of their trash, and they're friendly and they're helpful, and they helped a man who fell down a hill and could have died. That they just are there, they're there, mm-hmm. and they're aware, and they know the neighborhoods, and they know the people that they're picking up trash from. So people do like that. And the fact that we pick up large bulk items. I have to be on a list because I had to have something picked up, and it's going to take me a month to get it picked up, but the city will pick it up eventually. And but we need to do something. We can't go as we are. We're short of drivers. We're short of, we need to have good CDL drivers. If anybody out there is a CDL, we do need drivers, and we need workers. So
as city commissioner, you don't get bumped up that list?
No. No, I would not even think to do that. I would never do that.
Somebody out there right now is saying, I know as a city commissioner, she gets bumped up the list.
No. I will tell you a story.
I will tell you a story. We used to live on Pawnee Court, and for a while, the city manager lived across the street from us. That cul-de-sac got plowed better than any other cul-de-sac in the city, I'm sure, because when the city manager left, that cul-de-sac didn't get plowed at all for days.
Well, I don't know if I believe that, but I live on a dead end, And my street, I have to have 4-wheel drive because my street is the last one to get plowed.
Wow. Okay.
I'm on the edge of town and I'm on a dead end, and I don't complain about it because I know others, I'm taking my time. And I have 4-wheel drive. I can get out. So
fair enough.
Yes. Even when I was mayor.
If we were to go contractual, that would eliminate that whole department.
It would.
Would that lower taxes essentially, or would that money be?
It wouldn't make any difference because that's user fees.
Okay.
User fees. So people pay for that service, whether it's through the city or through the contractor. The difference would be now it's all through the city. A contractor would contract with individual residents. So you could have 3 or 4 contractors in a town, and I've seen this in surrounding areas here. You see one contractor picking up here, one contractor picking up over here. No, you wouldn't see you would see your bill go up because they are charging a lot more than what we charge through the city. But no, it wouldn't affect our taxes any. It would affect our department, but we think, we're short in other departments too. So we think we could, as far as employees, they wouldn't lose jobs in that.
One of the discussions last summer was the transfer station at Abels Field, and that completely got blown up. I know that you guys took a lot of heat for even thinking about that, and it really wasn't even a city, suggestion or decision.
No, it was a company wanted to set that up there, and it didn't even come to the when we were, when it blew up like that, it hadn't even come to us yet. It hadn't even come to the Planning Commission. So everything goes to the Planning Commission when it comes to exceptions.
So how does the city, when you get the recommendation from the Planning Commission, do you guys typically follow that recommendation, or do you guys?
Typically we do. Not always, but typically we do. It depends because they do the research. They have spent a lot more time on it than we have as commissioners. And so, they are all volunteers from our community. We have 25, I think it's 25 advisory boards to the city of Leavenworth.
Oh, really?
And it's everything from deer management to the airplane, to the airport, to the plumbing management in our city, to electrical, to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the sister city planning committee, our zoning committee, historic preservation. I mean, we've got all these different committees, and they are all staffed by volunteers. And I would say, as an upcoming mayor, if you have an interest in any of those planning commissions, feel free to put in an application, because I will be looking at applications and looking to fill those positions next year.
So if people have a passion to get involved and they have a passion for deer management, that's the place for them.
Yeah. Now, certain things you can't. If you're on the plumbing board, you got to have some registration and certification as a plumber, so to be on that board. But Parks and Recreation, that's another good one. All the programs that we do through Parks and Recreation, there's a Parks board, and so a lot of those things go to the board, and they look at, because there are people who live in the community and they're volunteers. We're all volunteers. I don't get paid for this. Not like the county,
Sure. That's a whole nother discussion for another day.
It is, but I'm a volunteer. So when people say, you do what I'm paying you for, well, I'm a volunteer. You're paying your taxes for our city, but just remember that we're working very hard to take care of you in the city.
And you bring up a good point. So I've heard from Commissioner Culbertson when I spoke with him last year that, that job, being a county commissioner, can be a full-time job for what they're getting paid. And often they don't make enough for the work they do, and they put in a lot more hours than they say they do, or what have you. How many hours as a commissioner do you put in every week as a volunteer?
We put in a lot more than the county does. I can tell you that right now.
I wasn't trying to make that contentious. I'm just curious.
I'm being straight here. I'm being straight here.
Somebody's going to listen to this, and you're going to hear back that the city is saying that they work harder than the county, which is not what I intended. Not what I intended.
All right.
Just a number during the week. Do you think you put in 10, 20?
I probably put in 20, 25 hours a week.
Really?
Mostly through phone calls, driving around, looking at sinkholes.
So you actually go out. If I call and said there's a sinkhole in my front yard, you would actually drive out and check it out.
Now, different commissioners are different. I mean, I know the town. Maybe some of the commissioners work full time during the day out of town.
Okay.
So they can't be here to do that all the time. But then they try to make up for it in the evening, on the weekend, whatever. So, but yes, if somebody calls me, I usually go out and look, unless I've already gone by there and seen it. But I usually go out and look at what the issue is. And then a lot of times I take pictures and I just send them over to our city manager, who takes care of it from there.
Okay. I want to talk about Mayor Pittman for a moment.
Yeah.
She has done a great job for us, I think. I know that there's a lot of scrutiny, but I think she set a very high bar for our next mayor, and how responsive she is on social media, how she's out in the public eye. Are you concerned that she's set a really high bar, that you're going to have to work even harder?
Oh, of course. Yeah. She's a hard act to follow, definitely.
Sure.
I'm really appreciative of all of the contacts that she is a marketing guru, so she's excellent at marketing and that. So I'm very appreciative of all the marketing ideas that she has come up with to be able to be more transparent and more relatable to the community. And I want to carry that forward as I go in. She's going to be hard to keep up with, but I don't do as much social media as she does, but I follow it. I just don't post as much, but
okay.
But I do share the city stuff on social media and that too, and I'll try to keep up with her. But we do have we all have different. That's a nice thing about being on the commission, and what I want to say is so important for our local commission to be a nonpartisan commission. Each one of us has something to bring to the table, and it is good to have a diverse commission, that you have people like Holly, that's young and energetic. You've got somebody like me who has a history and maybe has some historical information to help with. She calls me the mom. I know she called me that on your program.
She did.
That's all right. I like that. And then you've got Jermaine, who's passionate about the kids, and you've got Griff, who's passionate about the budget, and then you've got Ed, who's just passionate. I don't know what to say about Ed. He's everywhere. He's helpful, always helpful, and always anywhere you need him to be. So we all have different strengths, and so I think it's important to remain that way and keep our local elections nonpartisan. There has been a drive to try to make them partisan, like the county or the state or whatever, but we deal with everybody here in our community. And in our form of government, the mayor is no more important than anybody else here. And as a kid, I saw it was a different form of government. And the city of Leavenworth voted in our form of government to make it more equal. So each one of us represents the entire city, not just a region of the city, or not being just the mayor being able to hire and fire at will. We went to more of years ago, we went to more of a civil service type. We were civil service for a long time, more of a civil service type, where we don't have anybody that's a king over anybody else. We do have our each one of our commissioners has the same amount of power. As mayor, when you become mayor, you're more the vision, of the city. You're the person that's out there.
You bring up something that I hadn't intended to talk about, but I find it troubling, to be honest. Is every commissioner's position is at large? They represent the whole city, but I could get 5 people in my neighborhood elected to the city commission in theory.
Mm-hmm.
And we could make sure that my neighborhood was incredibly taken care of. And maybe I don't have interest in the north side, or I don't have interest in the south side by David Brewer or any other section of the city. That would be super unfortunate, but theoretically that could happen.
Well, that's why it's important for people to get out there and vote,
Mm-hmm.
and vote for their neighbors. And parts of the city, Leavenworth, another thing about Leavenworth, it's unique in that half of our city is rental.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of rentals are renters come and go. And in parts of the city, you have almost all rental. And so you don't have a continuity of people living in there to run for office in certain neighborhoods. So I think for our city, it is a benefit to have the whole city. But you have, we're talking about the wealthy people in this part of town or the poorer part people. The poor people vote too.
Sure.
I mean, we have a variety of people who, and you'll see that every time on the commission. I think you'll see that the next to the people who are running. I mean, I'm not running now, but I'm on the west side of the city. Holly is right almost downtown. And
Jermaine?
No.
Ed?
Well, Jermaine too. Jermaine lived in North Leavenworth when he first ran, and so does so does Sam Maxwell, who's running now. I mean, you have people in different parts of the town who are running, but yet they're taking care of the whole town, and I think that's important. You don't have any bias. You don't have any fight where I want the money for my part of town. I want my street fixed, but not yours. You don't have that. You're taking care of the whole town.
As our next mayor, what are a couple of the initiatives that you hope to drive forward?
I really want to focus on if you want to grow the community, if you want to grow downtown. I don't know about growing downtown, but we have a lot of vacant buildings downtown. And if you want to help the businesses there, you need to have, not more events and more other things, although those are great, but you need to have downtown, you've got a lot of vacant buildings. If you fill those buildings, you won't need so many events.
Sure.
Because if you have buildings there and you have competition and you have more restaurants and you have more shops and you have more places and more event spaces and more people living downtown, you're going to be open more. I'm going to throw one of your questions in here. You asked something about what do you like to do on the weekend? What I really like to do is people come in from out of town that I know that grew up here. My family, my sister partly, and she comes up. She wants to see downtown, but she can only come on the weekend. A lot of stuff is closed on the weekend.
Yes.
And so that's my favorite thing to do is walk her around downtown, but I have to do it during the week when she can get a day off because I can't do it on Sunday. We can't do it here. So we have to go down to her place. So, it's if you get more, I think if you get those buildings, but some of the buildings, they need to be inspected. I really was concerned when the Hazel's building down there across from down on Cherokee.
Across from Pullman's?
Across from Pullman's that literally fell down. And we need to have those buildings inspected, the other buildings downtown, because there are others that are almost in that bad shape that I know of. And you need to have those inspected. And if they need to be torn down, they need to be torn down. Otherwise, we need to fill them. We need to have businesses in there. And that's my goal for the coming year.
Okay. Before we go to our next segment, is there any upcoming events that you want to talk about? Anything coming up?
We have Camp Leavenworth and the Gin Blossoms. Thank you, Holly, for pushing that. And and it's going to be a great event, and I hope everybody comes out to it.
Do you know what the dates are for that?
September 26th and 27th. Is
it going to be like last year, where everything's going to be down by
the river, and it's and it's got some new things this year, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. We've got some more food vendors, and we've got some new stuff. So come down and enjoy. It's a lot of fun to get the whole community together once a year. We are happy to.
It was a great event last year and really enjoyed it. Before we get into rapid fire with Nancy Bauder, I just want to shout out to Rapid Response. I'm wearing the t-shirt today. They get out, and they're a nonprofit that gets out and helps our veterans. They really help the homeless veterans in the community. They do a great job, and they work very hard for that, and they take a lot of pride in that. And they will even pick up a veteran that needs a ride from anytime, anywhere. I've forwarded some calls to them, and they were just incredibly responsive. So just a shout out to them and the hard work that they do. All right. So we have 10 questions. I'm going to let you choose 4.
Okay.
Numbers 1 through 10.
Oh gosh. Are they in the same order as I have them?
No, they are not.
Okay.
So the idea is that, this is going to get you a little bit off guard.
Okay.
What's your first number?
3.
Number 3. If you weren't in public office, what would you be doing this week?
Oh gosh, that's an easy one. I'd be painting, gardening, and traveling to see my kids.
Okay.
Which is what I do all the time anyway when I'm not here, when I'm not doing city stuff.
Okay. Next one. Next number.
6.
Number 6. The best small change the city could make by next spring.
That was a hard one. I couldn't. That's when I put a question mark by. You know what I would like to see? I don't know. It's a small change. I don't know there's so many big changes we could make, but
something that we could accomplish in.
Well, I'll tell you what, we need
quickly.
to have our spring cleanup again.
Okay.
And we need to encourage, everybody, that's a local issue that everybody needs to be involved in all year round. But we need to have our spring cleanup again. And a lot of people, look forward to that. And we need to do cleanup all year round, but especially we need to do spring cleanup. It makes our city look shiny again.
Okay. Next question.
Number 1.
All right. Favorite weekend spot in Leavenworth to unwind?
Well, I think I've kind of said that my favorite, it's not one spot. It's the city. It's downtown. Okay. My favorite spot is downtown and to bring my friends in. And especially, we have a lot of class reunions here. I grew up here, so we have a lot of class reunions. So I bring in my reunion friends. They come whenever they're in the area, they come and visit and they want to see what's going on in Leavenworth. Right. And they enjoy coming here. People, I see negative stuff about it. There's nothing to do or, whatever, but they enjoy coming here. I have a friend from Washington, D.C. that when she comes back here, she comes here. She lived in Lee Summit for a long time, but she comes here and takes her grandkids to the Carousel Museum, and we go around town, and she just loves it.
Okay. Last one. Pick a number.
Can I pick a question?
Sure. I'll let you pick a question.
Okay. I think this is on the other side. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, which 2 recent community development wins stand out for you as something to build on? Okay. I had several of them here. Tenpenny is one. Rapid Response and Tenpenny are linked that way. They've done so much to not only provide really good food in that, but so much entertainment for our downtown. The First City Soda Fountain. That's a great new thing. And the local hotel. The local hotel has done so much, and they've just changed hands, and they're doing even more.
Okay.
And they have, a long-term stay people in there, but they have events there every weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I think all 3 of those are community development wins that can grow. And as I walk around downtown, I see businesses. Like if I go into Burr Roasters, I see products from other businesses. If I go into the Next to Nature place, there's all kinds of businesses, including some of our farmers market vendors as well that have products in there, and so they help each other out. And I think that is a real advantage, and I'd like to continue to see. That's not anything the city's doing. That's what the businesses and their entrepreneurship and their amazing amazing hard work to throw that out there and try to start something new and then build on it. And those are three I'd like to highlight that are doing new things, and I love that.
Final question. Okay. And it's not on any of these.
Okay.
Best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Shut up and listen.
Great advice for a politician. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an honor to have you. I know I've known you for such a long time. You're such a dear friend. But thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and just talk with us. And hopefully we can reach a few people who may not be aware of some of the things going on, and just for being here.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
That's our episode of SorWil Solutions for this week. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to next week, where we will actually have Chief Gates next week. I know I keep propping him, but he will actually be here next week. So thanks a lot. Have a great week.